Hello, Miss Kimberly Voigt. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Any relationship to John Voight, by the way?
From not that
The
person,
actor? Yeah.
but there's I guess there's some famous, well, not famous, some bus company named
Oh,
White. I guess we're somehow related to them, some
I gotcha.
way back cousins or something.
Well,
But
we're
I'm
all
gonna,
related to each other in the end,
yeah,
aren't we? All right, so I took y'all down
uh,
that little rabbit hole. Sorry. But now we are going to have, because of Kim and Eric's suggestion, Twin Flames Part 2, because there is, and I agree, there's a lot of confusion about it. So I think things
there is.
maybe need to be clarified. I just don't know what. So that's your job, Kim and Eric. And hi, Eric. I already said I love you, of course.
And he's saying it again. I love you, Mom. He wants to get
Hmm.
it recorded. He says.
Oh gosh,
I know he's being silly today. Um,
today always silly.
So it works with me when I'm
Yep.
seeing, channeling in clients and
Uh huh.
in from time to time, and I can ask them questions. And so a lot has been coming up questions about this whole twin flame thing, and there's a lot of confusion on it. So he's asking me just to start, in case someone hasn't seen our part one, that with the beginning, that creator, prime creator, wanted to experience itself and fractaled into like a billion different pieces. And of those pieces, there was a male and female counterpart. That's the twin flame. Up until now, it's typically been where, although some did incarnate together, where one stayed on the other side and acted as a guide where the other incarnated.
Oh.
Now the energy's high enough on the planet and more are coming together, more together.
Hmm.
But what the confusion for so many people is I get so many questions, and Eric says other people are getting these questions too, where people want to know, okay, is this guy my real twin flame? Or is he just someone I'm having a relationship with? Because remember, I talked
Yes.
about how you can bring that relationship through with another person.
Hmm.
And so, through a series of events that happened, what I've come to understand is these twin flame relationships that we have with other people, they are almost exactly the same thing, and you cannot tell a difference.
Oh, does it
And
have to be? I mean, it can be platonic. It doesn't not have to
right,
be
it can be.
because
Um,
Eric is my twin flame, right?
right, right,
So
right, exactly. But in other lifetimes, you were probably a couple,
yeah, it could be.
that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, So what he's telling me to tell you, and he said this is the perfect time to bring this up because of what you just said, but he said if a couple of twin flames have already been together and had that spectacular, glorious twin flame union in lifetime, they may not keep coming together every time because it's like now you've elevated yourself, you've learned this, you know how to do it. So you go out into the world and then you find an equal partner, an equal vibrational match partner, and you become twin flames.
Oh, so you can have more than one twin flame?
You can have more than one twin flame. And
Wow.
see, the reason Eric's asking me to explain this to you, because so he's your twin flame, but you're actually in a twin flame relationship with your husband.
Yeah, I thought so.
And a
So,
lot of people are, and he's saying it would be really confusing for you, maybe, because the thing is, you'll if you have the gift of already knowing who your actual twin flame is
mhm.
and you know what they look like, you could identify it. Like I'll see Jay, my twin flame, in my husband's eyes and even in other people's eyes when I'm interacting with them. It's like he
Wow.
reflects back to me through them.
What do you mean you
And
see him in their eyes?
there's something about the look in their eyes. You can it's like,
Oh,
I recognize that look. That's how Jay's eyes looked. Or
I
it's
see.
maybe the glance they give you or something. But
Okay.
what he's saying is for you, that would be harder to recognize because obviously his dad is his biological father. So of
Yeah.
course he's going to remind you of him.
Oh,
But
yeah.
say say your husband was not his biological father, just say, make up some story he wasn't,
It's the
it would
mailman.
be easier. Yeah, it would be easier. You would, because he doesn't look so similar. You would
Yeah.
see Eric reflecting that back to you at times.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when Eric died, he was to come through and communicate with you and get all this started. And it was so part of it so that you would continue the twin flame union with your husband.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay.
So that's your part in it. He wanted me to get that out of the way and bring that up to you. But
Well,
he says he,
does Eric,
go ahead.
Eric, do you have another twin flame also somewhere? Or how many do you have? Because a lot of blog members say, I know I'm Eric's twin flame and stuff. So,
They're getting okay, so in other lifetimes, he has had relationships with other people that have elevated to like a twin flame status.
okay.
He says some may remember that, but he's
Oh,
not, he makes these close connections with people and they may be misreading them. He's
oh,
like,
yeah.
he's like in a soulmate role to them, a mentor role to them, and they may just be
Ah,
reading it that way. Here's the other thing he's pointing out. Some people have never experienced what real true love is.
yeah.
And so,
Oh,
Eric, he's such a loving,
I
wonderful
know.
guy. When he's around and you feel that love, they mistake that for, oh, he must be my twin flame because I'm feeling all this love.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, yes, you are his twin flame, but yet, and also he has had other twin flame relationships with other people
Okay. Can
in
you?
other lifetimes. But
Okay.
you are his twin, and you will always come back together.
Oh, wow. Can
It's
you
like,
have the two twin flames while both are alive? Well, I mean, Eric was alive for 20 years, so, but how common is that for, oh yeah, my friend Kenny is my twin flame plus my brother and my husband.
well, and Eric's saying
Those are
yes because it just
triplets.
brought me back to my situation. He said, think of yours. Jay was your twin flame. He was, although I didn't know he was my twin flame when we, he was alive before he transitioned.
Yeah.
And my husband was my twin flame. So
Mm,
I had two at the same time. And I always thought it was really cool that I had this, different circumstance, other guy that I could connect with. Because, when you connect with people and it's any kind of romance or whatever, it
yeah.
always can get icky and sticky, especially with a twin flame, because
Mm.
if you do break up, it's horrendous.
Oh God. And if they
You
do
know,
die, then that's why I
it's
grieve so
horrendous.
hard, right?
Exactly,
Yeah. Oh
exactly.
boy.
Yeah. So, he's just saying, so you can have this relationship with more than one person, but it's like the one that is the twin, the one that, you were one part separated into male and female aspects, he is always going to be that for you. That is never going to change, and that's always
Okay.
true. But he said what some people are doing is they're like waiting and thinking they can have no love if they don't find their twin flame.
Ah,
And he said that that's just not true. A twin flame can come through in many relationships. I
yeah.
even know of people who they think they know who their twin flame is, and maybe they're married to somebody else. And so they're waiting, and this one girl I know is waiting as her biological clock ticks away because she thinks this guy is going to leave his wife at some point. She's not
Yeah.
pursuing him. She just thinks all this is going to happen.
Yeah.
He's going to leave his wife at some point and marry her, and they're going to have children, and which could be a possibility, but it's a possibility that it might not happen too. And she, if somebody were to think like that, they would really be diminishing their experience because she could be out having wonderful relationships with people.
I
And
know.
maybe she was wrong. Maybe that isn't even her twin flame,
It's like Deepak Chopra talks about uncertainty, and uncertainty is wonderful. If you have too much certainty, then your focus is on the end of the
Mhm,
road where the
mhm.
rainbow and the pot of gold is. So you're not going to notice the flowers along the path, i.e., opportunities. So
Yeah,
it's real dangerous to put blinders on yourself with these preconceived notions.
right. I was just going to mention the way Eric just said, tell him the way you figured this out was because when I started having all these Salem memories
Yeah.
and I started remembering the relationship with William, my husband in that lifetime, I saw that was actually a twin flame union. Because here's the other
Yeah.
part. I mean, and it was so devastating when I died for him, and it was so devastating when he
Mm,
threw me under the bus to have someone you love hurt that much.
yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, so now consciousness on the planet is more now than it was back then. But at the time, in order to have children that had activated spiritual DNA that could be like the seers, that's what they called them at the time, you
Hmm.
had to have two twin flame parents.
Oh.
So that was how I found out because our girls, especially, were very, very psychic. And the one was in jail with me and they pretty much destroyed her. She
Oh,
couldn't do
yeah.
anything after
Yeah.
that. The other one they took, gave up for she
Yes.
was given away,
Yeah.
but the authorities didn't know that. They thought she was killed. They wanted to kill her because they didn't want that
Right.
elevated consciousness to continue to spread.
Idiots.
So Eric is saying that's also got something to do. He's telling me and you and many people, with the reason we are in these twin flame relationships, it is because we gave birth to children that had the potential to activate their spiritual DNA.
Oh, interesting.
And that's why. And then the other thing he was telling me about is that typically the way it has been is, and not always, but you might have one partner that starts up here in spiritual understanding and the other one is down here. Typically, this is the woman, and the woman isn't very grounded
Go girl. Go girl.
yeah, she's not very grounded, likes to do etheric things, but doesn't like to take care of the nitty gritty things that have to be done in life. So she might be with this really grounded man
Sounds
who's
like
really
me
stuck. And this really
and Remy.
grounded man is there for a specific purpose to keep her from flying off, and not being grounded. And because it would do you no good to be a psychic or any kind of spiritual work if you weren't
Yeah.
grounded. It doesn't
Yeah.
help anybody just to work in the ethers. So he said a lot of people came together like this, and now maybe the woman's grown in consciousness, but maybe the man's being real stubborn and thinking he has to do this. And
Well,
he's
I
saying
think
that's
that's the case with
what
my husband and I, right? Is it? Or
he said. Yeah, it's the case
she's
with
super
my
grounded,
husband and
except he's
so
believes
many
in
people I know.
spirituality, but he's like a earth man.
Right, right, he is. And Eric said that was very necessary.
Hmm.
Um, and he says, for some people, it's just, I don't think he's speaking specifically to you, but it might not hurt to have that kind of conversation. At one point, I needed you to be real grounded like this, but you got to start backing up. I did have this conversation with my husband. I told him I'm feeling like we're growing apart,
Oh yeah.
and I don't want that to happen.
No,
And then he
no,
went, okay, I can see what you're talking about, and then we would move on. He says communication, people don't communicate.
they don't.
Um, what else did he want me to? Oh, some of the signs. He said some of the signs to know when you're in a twin flame relationship with someone is telepathy.
Oh,
And
like
you
I
don't
complete.
realize,
We complete. I know it. Hey, where's the? Yeah, it's in the bottom cabinet. Things like that.
okay,
So we do
yeah,
that.
he said that's sign number one. And then this just very deep, intense love that could never, ever abandon you. Oh, he's bringing something else up. I got to say this before it leaves my consciousness. He said the reason why, okay, so you know how other people play out the roles that you hand them to play?
Mhm. Yeah.
He's telling me with both of us, me and you, because of our history and because of the abusiveness with, our fathers and
Hmm.
men in our younger years, we really held the idea that men were supposed to be controlling, abusive, this, that, and the other thing. So we're holding that idea. So you know how other people will play the role you hand them to?
Hmm.
We, here saying you two were given men that could hold their role and not let you do that to them. Because unconsciously, with, what our beliefs towards men, the opposite sex, and that, the other person would gravitate towards acting that out. So
Yeah,
he
but no,
put,
you're right. My husband does not do that. I'm like, a man try to control me, I'm gonna punch him in the throat. What are you talking about? But
mm-hmm,
my husband is very dominating, but he's also respectful. I mean, he is like, if it's really important to me, I'm gonna get my way. I'm gonna get my way. But his
he is.
nickname is I have spoken. It's kind of cute because he's
Mm-hmm.
real soft inside, such a mushy gushy guy, full of love, would give anybody the shirt off their back. But yet, I'll give you an anecdote. When the kids were all little, everybody talking over each other at dinner, and we had to have this little thing called the talking stone, and nobody could talk unless they had the talking stone. So that thing was flying all over the place. And my husband does not tolerate a lot of noise. I mean, he doesn't like it. I can take it as long as it's happy noise. And it was getting too loud, and he wore these glasses so he could see his food. I mean, because it was getting farsighted. And he went like that and said, "What is the meaning of this?" And then he looked up and he had Bambi eyes because they were being magnified. Blink, blink, and all the kids just started laughing and thought it was so funny. So they take him with a grain of salt, and that was it.
Eric,
I don't know why he said that. I
Eric
thought it was
said
cute.
his bark was much worse than his bite.
Oh God, yes, he does not.
He said he's a sweet.
I was the disciplinarian. It's like logical consequences, firm but respectful. But
Right,
you
right.
dent the car.
Mhm.
Sorry, you got to pressure wash a few houses to get that deductible paid for. But sorry, that's the way it goes. All right. Can I ask you? Did you already finish that thought, or can I ask you?
Here we Yeah, yeah. I'm just making notes because there's a couple different parts I want to make sure, he told me to make sure I touch on it. So go ahead and ask. I just wanted to make the notes so that I remember to go back to it. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, this whole thing about how they split off male and female and all that. Why? What was the purpose of of doing that? Number one, and number two, why male and female? Why couldn't it be male and male, female, female? I mean, what was the purpose?
Um, so flow, Eric's saying it's like yin yang, a flowing of energy. The male's a positive charge, the female's the negative charge.
Okay.
And so with the two of them, somehow the energy, it's an energy flow thing.
Okay.
Um, and in this life, I mean, I think people know this, but in this life, you could have a twin flame that's two women or two men.
Yeah,
It
because
doesn't
spirits
matter
aren't
what
always just.
gender you're born with. It's
Yeah.
just this, and when that happens, if it's a twin flame relationship, usually you're going to have one that takes more of a masculine role and one
I
more of
gotcha. Okay. Because spirits don't have a real gender. They can prefer to be masculine or prefer to be more feminine, right? Or
right, right, right. They can. I think, I think the way, from what I've seen, that's pretty true. Um, and I'm asking Eric because it seems to me that people, if they prefer to be female, they come in most of their lives as females.
oh, I
And
see.
Eric is saying that is true. They would do more female if they like being female. Some don't care. Some like being male.
Okay.
But so what he's telling me is this also has to, I'm not quite sure how it all ties in, but it all has to do too with the fall of consciousness that we had because at one point we had one lobe in our brain, and then it separated
Wow.
into a right and left hemisphere.
Yeah.
And so that's when our consciousness was divided, and we got the consciousness of duality and separation and all that when that happened. And he said that happened so that we could go out and learn and experience.
From different
So,
perspectives, like a right brain perspective and a left brain perspective,
and male and female side.
male and
So,
female. Yeah.
right. So what he tells me is one of the things. Okay, a couple things. If you're having trouble, if anybody's having trouble making that connection, first and foremost, like what we were talking about earlier, if you're holding any ideas, opinions, anger, whatever, that men are like this, women are like
Yeah.
this, you are going to block, because we're both masculine and feminine within
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. You're going to block that part of yourself, and you're going to
Yeah.
have a harder time making that twin flame connection.
Mm.
So you want to, just make sure you're doing all your forgiveness work. Um, he says the other thing that really helps, any activities where you're using both your right and left side of your brain back and forth simultaneously. And he's showing me like knitting.
Mm.
He's showing me like people doing, oh, like my husband ties these fishing lure things,
Oh, okay.
slides they're called. And so he's going like that and showing me that kind of stuff help. Anything with the hand-eye coordination that's involving both sides will help.
And creativity, the right side. Yeah.
Creativity, yes, yes, yes. He says the other things can do if you want to help make a twin flame connection when you're meditating, you may see, and he said just look for it, like a little spark of light right where your third eye would be. Watch
Okay.
it, and then watch it turn into a vertical pillar of light. Then ask for your twin flames energy to join you, and you'll see two vertical pillars of white light
Wow.
in 1111.
Yeah.
The other thing
Oh,
you can
wow.
do, put your hand over your heart. Anytime you put your hand over your heart, you connect your energy with your twin flames. Anytime you want to connect and feel Erik
Okay.
or anybody else
Neat.
who has a
Do you
twin.
have to think, okay, I'm connecting with Erik or anything like that?
Um, well, he says you wouldn't have to. He said, look at it like this, Mom. I am gonna feel that you're calling towards me, wanting me, but if I was in the middle of something else, I might be a little bit distracted. So if I heard your voice at the same time, that would get my attention. But
Erik,
he's saying
come
it's
here.
not like I'd never notice you, I just might
Oh,
be a little
yeah.
distracted in the moment.
Yeah. So, when you say if someone wants to connect with their twin flame, are you talking about, hey, I really am crushing on this guy, David, and I want to connect to him, or I must have a twin uh, flame on the other side. I want to connect with he or she. I don't know who they are, but I mean, what do you mean if they want to connect with their twin flame?
If you want to, because it's like your other half.
Yeah.
I always like my better half, that's what I call it.
Yeah.
But if you want to connect with them, whether they're here or on the other side,
Or whether you know
if you
you
want to
have an
feel
idea
that
of who they
love,
are or
even if
not.
you don't know who they are, they'll feel
Okay.
it. They'll feel the energy. You
Ah.
can just send them love. And even Eric's saying, what if your twin flame was halfway across the world and going through some major tragedy? He's telling me that just by you going like this and sending them love every day, that you could really help them. You could elevate them to
Oh,
get themselves
wow.
out of whatever situation they're in.
Does it help to visualize something like two bright
You
linear
can,
lines together, or I don't know,
you can.
or two halves of a heart
Um,
together,
you could do that too.
or
He
two
said
flames?
it's, hmm
Why are they
yeah,
called
twin flames.
flames? Why do they say
Yeah.
flames?
I don't know why they call it that. I'm not sure. Eric's saying it's a catchy tune. Not a catchy tune, a catchy phrase
Okay.
somebody
So
came
what
up
was the
with.
purpose of having twin flames? Why did Source break up to include regular old, whatever, but also twin flames? Why? And they must have been, there's no linear time, so they must have been around forever anyway, but we don't have
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
vocabulary to
Yes.
really get that, to explain that. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, why? What's the purpose?
Okay, so I'm just generic here. Well, okay, so he says there were two different aspects within those beings, the male and the female part, and it was easy, for lack of a better term, an easier way to do it, to separate and get to know each aspect separately. He says that. But he also says it had to do with, because Earth is this genetic library experiment kind of thing, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. It also had to do with, um, the polarity, the dark and the light, and the separation. And so when these, how was he saying it? Oh, okay. So it was like they separated and pulled apart and went down in their vibration to learn. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
they got dumbed down, and then they did their spiritual work, they did their homework, and as they did their homework, it brought them closer and closer and closer together. It was kind
Ah,
of like we separated so that we could get to know each individual at
think,
like
get, think, yeah,
Eric saying, just like in the beginning when source was just one big conglomerate of love and energy, and it separated itself because it wanted to know itself.
yeah.
Eric
Oh,
is saying
so this
it's
is on
kind of
a
like
microcosm level. But so
right.
why didn't he Source break up into only twin flames? Why, or did it? Or or was it just the regular old souls, run of the mill, generic, and then there's, we're gonna do 3 trillion sets of twin flames. I mean, yeah.
Eric's making me feel like it's just the way that it is. Everybody has a male and a female part. He's telling me some have chosen not to experience it that way.
Oh, okay. So some
Some
people don't have
people
twin flames, right?
some people have, and I think this would be someone with like really super elevated consciousness. Some people
Oh,
would have that, all of that twin flame, both the masculine and energies, just in their body, and they
oh,
live it that way.
wow, wow. But so
Yeah.
does everybody, every single soul from source, start out with a twin flame as a set?
He says yes. Yes.
Oh, cool. So can you have a twin flame that's in animal form or something else? Or my wonderful coffee mug, Canadian fast food. Ah, you.
Oh. um, he says no, because typically there's not the crossing of species for that
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
thing. Yeah.
I got you.
And animal souls are kind of a different. They come in more as a, almost like a, and I'm not quite sure what he means on that,
Like
but
a
he says they're
learning
just,
tool, like our God, they help us. I mean, they don't come here for contrast and, like this is
no,
the same as a
no,
human
right,
experience.
yeah,
They're here for
yeah.
us to learn
That's it.
unconditional
Eric,
love and things like
you
that.
just said, you just said the word. Eric triggered you. We did it for contrast.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'll tell you if I'm not getting it, he said.
okay. So basically, twin flames are a vibrational match. Then, right? It's like the
Mhm.
energy frequency is similar.
Right.
So what happens
Almost,
when? Okay.
I was gonna say it's almost like fraternal twins, or the twins that separate from one egg. Is that
Oh yeah,
fraternal?
yeah, yeah. So
Your energies are perfectly synchronized.
so what if the energy, frequency of one goes down compared to the other, or vice versa? The other goes up, and the one stays here. What does that look like in a relationship?
Well, okay, so Eric's telling me they can ebb and flow. Well, one will raise their consciousness and one may stay, one may lower it. But eventually, in a true twin flame relationships where both parties want to work together, they're going to come to the same level.
So it's like this,
Yeah.
it's 49,
But
51, and then, yeah, okay. So what
but
happens?
because we've all known of couples though that have, when they've started on this spiritual path, they've grown apart.
I know.
One's not interested and the other
Yeah,
one leaves, you
yeah.
know. To me,
So
that's sad, but
what is that? Why?
just because there's
Free will?
such a different vibrational match,
Is
yeah,
free will? I mean,
they
they're
just
the
can't
other
get
ones are
along
not.
anymore.
Oh, well, okay. What about if the twin flame set both go down in vibration? What does that look like in a relationship? And just maybe give me an example, if you can.
Well, Eric's saying that's really kind of unlikely to happen because of the
Yeah,
elevated state they have, but he's given me this example. If, because, okay, so this twin flame person you love them so much with all your heart and soul, but say you get in a fight and you're maybe going to break up or something, that hurts so badly.
yeah,
Okay. So that twin may disconnect from their matrix or their source and, and maybe start doing little backstabbing things, to the other one because they're going down in consciousness.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe as a knee jerk reaction. But what Eric is basically saying is that's really not likely to happen because, usually the twin flames are elevating in consciousness. And then he says, once you know something, you can never unknow it.
Oh, yeah. Is there, are all twin flames that come in to this world together, are they always a little bit higher vibrational frequency than non-twin flame sets, or lower, or it doesn't make any difference?
Usually, he's saying, usually. There's a unique bond, he's telling me, that other people don't make.
Yeah, because okay, if we all were created as twin flame sets, but some decided, nah, I don't want to, I don't really want a twin flame, and so they don't have a twin flame. What happens to that twin flame that they just said, bye bye, I don't need you? What happens to that soul?
Well, Eric is saying the two energies are so synchronized. It's not really that one decides, I'm going to do this and you're going to do this time.
Oh, okay,
It's like a mutual thing. You may
I see.
decide together, okay, I'm gonna live in Europe and you're gonna live in Hawaii this time
I
around.
gotcha.
We're never gonna meet, or we're gonna meet after we've been married to someone else and we're widowed, or you might,
Yeah, yeah. There's all sorts of different plans.
all
Or,
kinds of
hey,
things.
I'm going to hang out here and be your guide, and you're going to do this. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah. So there's all sorts of. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? And anything else? I mean, we don't have to go a whole hour.
Let's see. I'm trying to. Oh, Eric just was saying, the other thing too with I've had this come up too. This question come up. There was a couple that was a twin flame couple, but and this was somebody that knew them, just couldn't understand how they could have the political views they had when they're actually a twin flame couple because this person considered it to be very unconscious what they
Oh,
believed.
yeah. I've seen that a lot.
And yeah, and so what Eric is telling me is you maybe have that twin flame energy and relationship going in one area, but in another area in your life, you haven't made it yet because we're
I
all in
gotcha.
stages. So
Ah,
it's not that you have to elevate yourself. This is what he wants me to say. It's not that you have to elevate yourself to be this perfect, enlightened person to get
mm,
a twin flame, but it's something where that deep, deep love is between you and you grow together, is what he's basically saying.
right. And you don't have to. We all have different parts of ourselves and different interests and different opinions, and so there's the political, there's the religious, there's ideas about this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be good at woodworking, but you're a klutz. Yeah, that. So we just have different yin and
Right.
yang. That's why it's yin and yang,
Right.
I guess, huh?
Yeah, and Eric's saying in the end, the thing is about a twin flame and a twin flame relationship. They are behind you, they got your back, they want
Yeah.
you to shine. You know, because you hear about some of these relationships where, maybe something special's going on in the man or the woman's life, so then the other partner creates a crisis so that,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff
I
like
got it.
that. People really do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he's saying it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing that
It's
you
like a
always
sync. It's like a yeah. It's like a beautiful symphony
it
with some
is.
dark parts and some light parts, and just but all ebb and flow and graceful and
Mm-hmm. Yes,
sometimes not
that's
graceful.
right. Yeah.
Sometimes we face plant together.
Mhm.
All right, sounds good. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that's all he's telling me about. He's not bringing out anything else except
All
about
right,
you.
we're gonna put this out on as close to Valentine's Day as we can, as per your
That would be
suggestion.
fun.
And
Yeah,
I
that
think
would be
that would
fun.
be an awesome idea. You guys, well, first of all, I love you both, Eric, and I love you all watching. I really do. I mean, feel like, well, you're part of my collective, and I'm part of you. But
Mhm.
anyway, go check out Kim's site at embody-light.com, and I will put that right here as I usually do. Now, oh, hit the subscribe button if you have not, and the notification bell, and please like this video and share it with other people to spread the light around the world. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Eric says, love you, Mom. Bye bye.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too.